Esha Brahmi Sthiti Parth. What is the Brahmi Sthiti? Shri Krishna is pointing out this is the Brahmi Sthiti, and it is characterized by freedom from delusion. When you see things as they are, not as how you project them or imagine them or want them, that is Brahmi Sthiti, the Brahmi state. The state of identity between the ego and the truth. And this identity can be obtained only through dissolution of the ego in the truth. That is Brahmi Sthiti. Internally, the clamoring one, hungry one, restless and incomplete one is no more. Externally, the objects that appeared tempting or terrible are no more. And these two disappearances always happen simultaneously. As long as within there is the belief that you are the incomplete one, without there would be objects promising to fill up the incompleteness. If you see objects out there that hold a lot of meaning to you, it does not tell anything about the objects, because you are anyway not seeing their reality. The meaning you place in the objects tells a lot about you. And who are you? A belief. The I, the ego, is its own belief. The belief that it is existentially incomplete. There, but yet not there. Existent, but in half. That's the ego. Nobody else need come to the ego to implant incompleteness. Nobody else need to tell the ego, you're not all right, you are incomplete, you are restless, you're not okay. The ego holds a strong belief of its own pre-existing, as if the belief was what was born. It's actually quite interesting to hear that. It's a belief that takes birth. The belief that I am and yet I am not. The belief that my existence is a predicated one, contingent one. That's the ego. This belief is what is taken as the self, the starting point, the homegrown truth. The center of all our actions. I am, yet I am not. I exist, but feebly, partially. That's the ego. And because this is the beginning of everything, why test it? From this beginning, you want to test everything else. From this beginning, you want to test everything else. You will not test this beginning because this beginning is who you are. If you test it, first of all, it is very counterintuitive. Secondly, scary. Because this belief is who you are. Testing one's own existence is definitely a risky thing, no? One does not know what the test might reveal. It's all right to have a test to determine whether this pen exists. We can go for that test. At most, the existence of the pen will be at stake. But how about testing whether this one, the one holding the pen, whether he exists? It's a very risky test. So it is never attempted. Besides being risky, as we said, it is not intuitive to test it. Obviously, I exist if I don't exist. I mean, who's talking? Who is breathing? Who is thinking? Who is emoting? Who is touching? Who is associating? Who was born? So I do exist. So that is taken as the home truth, as the origin, as the starting point, an axiom. And that is the first delusion. That is the first delusion. Sri Krishna says here, who is the one in the Brahmi Sthiti? The one who is free of moha. The one who is free of moha, delusion. And delusion starts at birth. You could even say, just as we said, belief is born. You could say moha is born. Delusion is born. What is the most fundamental delusion? I exist. I exist as the controller of the body, as the owner of the body, as somebody apart from the body. We do not say, this is me. We say, this is mine. Look at the mega assumption contained there. You will never touch your arm and say, this is me. You will say, this is mine. Implicit? I am not the arm. So, which is fine to an extent, because it limits your body identification, which is fine. This is my arm. I am separate from the arm. To that extent, it is fine that it limits your body identification, but it is also very, very dangerous. And the danger outweighs the benefit, in that it gives rise to a fictitious entity, the owner of the arm. The arm is visible. Who is the one owning the arm? Is that one visible? No. But just because the arm is there, somehow the being, the existence of the owner of the arm gets validated. It's validation through assumption. So we say, there must be somebody. In some cultures, it was called the inner person. They would say there is this outer person that you see walking, talking, and all that. There has to be an inner person as well. They would say the inner person is exactly of the same type, same color, and the same proportions as you are, just the dimensions are not the same. So it's a miniature form of who you are. So here you are, the outer one, and there is the inner one sitting within. That's the first delusion, that there is somebody inside the body. And it's very, should I say, normal to fall to that delusion, because it does appear that there has to be somebody inside the body. Now, if there is somebody inside the body, that fellow is then limited to the body, right? Can work only through the body. And the body is limited. That fellow is limited to the body, can operate only through the body, and the body itself is very limited. So what happens to the inner fellow? He becomes severely limited. Your scope is limited to the body. You are smaller than the body because you are contained in the body. Fine. Even if we admit that you are the controller of the body, this body that you control is of little avail. It can't do much. Can't run beyond a speed. Can't jump beyond a height. Can't live beyond a point. So the inner one becomes very, very limited. Limited in time, limited in space, and limited in ability. Also limited in knowledge. Because the storehouse of knowledge is the brain, which is the body. And the inner one can know only through the body, then the inner one becomes severely limited. From there rises the incompleteness of the ego. I am so limited, so I'll have to be incomplete. And it hurts. Hurts. As if there is a system and it is constantly being told that there is something wrong with you. There is the physical system, and the ego is the constant message that there is something wrong with you. Very recently, there were these Boeing planes, I suppose the 737 MAX series, and one of them crashed because of a new software. The planes had been updated with a new software. Now, what was happening was that the plane would be flying just all right. But a bug in the software would tell the plane that you are gaining height. And not only will it tell the software you are gaining height, not only will it tell the plane that you are gaining height, obviously, it would then rotate the nose of the plane so that it comes down, loses height. Now the plane is flying as planes must, very properly. But the software is telling the plane there is something wrong with the way you are flying. Rotate your nose. And a couple of planes crashed and hundreds of people were killed. That's the ego. a random bug in your physical software, which is there just to tell you all the time there is something wrong with you. And that causes crashes. You are a system, right? You are a system. You are a physical system. Even your mental operations are all physical. You are a physical system. And there is something within you constantly telling you you are not all right. And that causes crashes. The inescapable feeling, something is missing in life, that is the ego. I'm going wrong somewhere. That is the ego. I could have taken the example of a faulty altimeter that does not warn of ground proximity. So the plane is flying too low, too close to the ground, and the sensor doesn't warn. But there, the analogy would have meant that there is already something wrong with the way the plane is operating. And the corrective mechanism rather failed to kick in. The plane was flying badly, and the corrective system didn't operate, so the plane crashed. No, but that's not a proper analogy. The ego will tell you something is wrong when nothing is. That's a better example. The ego will tell you something is wrong when actually nothing is. Actually nothing is. I cannot forget. There was this song from the Hindi movie, Kati Patang. And the lyrics ran something like this: ना कोई उमंग है, ना कोई तरंग है, मेरी जिंदगी है क्या एक कटी पतंग है. And there is the actress draped all in white, probably because she's a widow, and tears streaming down her cheeks, with the face as gloomy as possible. The actress is probably Asha Parekh. She's uttering these lyrics. And I couldn't just help wonder. If I remember, the scene is set at night. The place where she's singing is a clean, well-kept place. The singer, the woman, is young, healthy, also looks educated, also intelligent, going by the construction of the song. Not everybody can create deep rhyming lyrics. Nothing looks wrong with her, but she is in deep grief. And I look at the screen and I wonder, who told her that there is something wrong with her? I don't know who did, but she is absolutely convinced that life is a kati patang. Absolutely. That's the ego. You will not know why you are upset, but you will be upset. You know why you are upset? Because there exists somebody within to be upset. That's the real reason. And you are looking for an external cause. There has to be something in the environment that's upsetting me. No. A fictitious, delusionary entity is sitting within, hell-bent to remain upset. And that is the only reason you are upset. And that entity will not say, my existence is grief itself. I don't need a reason to grieve. I exist to grieve. I don't need a reason to suffer. I exist to suffer. That's the ego. But the system, as it is made, as it takes form in Prakriti, is not made to suffer. Right? It is made to exist for a while, be there, interact with the world, and then coolly pass away. The script from the side of Prakriti does not really include suffering. Just as animals and birds and plants and rivers and mountains are not obliged to suffer. Getting it? But we are special. And what makes us special is the ego. We suffer. And we think the cause of suffering is somewhere out there. The sufferer is the cause of the suffering. Just as you are not supposed to suffer, the counterpart is nothing in the universe is supposed to help you out. Because help is needed only when you are in, first thing, trouble. Help becomes a relevant word only when there is somebody who really needs help. You don't ever need help. That's not how you are constructed. That's not how the game is. You don't need help. You don't need completion. And the corollary is, nothing exists there to provide you completion. And these two obviously go together, no? Neither do you need to be completed, nor does anything exist to complete you. No object in the universe has any power to render you complete, fulfilled. No object has that capacity. But when you are deluded with respect to yourself and you say, I am suffering or upset or incomplete, whatever, then you will have to project another delusion, the delusion that there is something out there that can help you, redeem you, complete you. And these two lies, two will go together, no? If I'm really in trouble, then there ought to be somebody who can pull me out of trouble. Now, these two lies together constitute the life of the common man. One, I am in trouble. Two, somebody will come from outside to help me out. These are the two delusions. Always together, always in pair, dualistic companions of each other. Both are great lies. To see through this couple is the Brahmi Sthiti. Centered in Brahma, even at death, one remains established in Nirvana. Death here would refer to two things. One, the moment of physical expiry, after which the organism would no more act as it usually did. That is one, the common meaning. Second, the day-to-day dismissal of hopes, desires, ambitions, the daily disappointments, all the hopeful beginnings coming to their inevitable ends, that too is death. And scary, very scary death is, right? That's the most scary thing, that this we think as life will no more be there. And when you are that scared, then you lose any bit of wisdom that might have remained. If you will observe people in general, they walk around almost all right. But when faced with extreme situations, extreme fears, you find that even the last shreds of sanity are gone. If you want to look at human madness, look at people in extreme situations, fear, poverty, hunger, desire, anger, association, lust, attachment, ambition. Look at them there and you'll find them acting. So the great test of your wisdom is, can you stand firm in the face of death? However, there is a problem with this test, because the final death of the organism comes only once and for sure does not come daily. So how will you apply the test? You might have to wait for another 50 years, right? So yes, the termination of the organism is a scary thing, no doubt. But that is not the only scare we have. The fact is that we meet with daily hurt, daily terminations, dreamy beginnings coming to abrupt abortions. Is that not happening? You started something with such great hopes. And what happened to that? Nothing, collapsed. That too is death. And all deaths are scary. And this is where you can practically apply the test. When my desires are dashed, when my hopes remain unmet, can I still remain centered? And that is why Sri Krishna is saying that the one in Brahmi Sthiti remains established in Nirvana even at the time of death. Because that is the toughest test. Toughest test. But mind you, I'm repeating, not the death that comes to you just once. One final time, no. You cannot spend your entire life waiting for that without having tested your insights for want of the occasion. You cannot say only when that final occasion comes will I be able to test my depths. Now let's say that final occasion does come. Death stands in front, staring you in face, and you test and you find that the test has failed. Right? What will you do now? Because this is anyway the moment of death. So a lot of things that are said with respect to the moment of death in spiritual literature have to be read with care. For example, if you remember the truth in the moment of your death, you have attained salvation. So is said, right? Or if you are found uttering Ram in your last breath, you attain heaven. But then that is just one particular moment at the end of the whole life. And after that moment, there is no opportunity to recover. So death then has to be taken in a larger context. Death is not that just one final moment that comes after several decades, hopefully. Death is a daily thing. Death is a daily thing. And it requires wisdom to see that you are dying daily. And because death is scary, so you are continuously scared. You remember? The sage singing, Jag ki marni kyun mare din mein 100 baar. You are not just dying daily, you are dying 100 times daily. And that's why our faces remain so long. Our backs remain bent and our shoulders drop. Because we are dying daily, and that's not pleasant. You want something, it doesn't happen, that is death. Simple. You start something, and whenever you start something, there is just one hope really, fulfillment. That is the only real inner driver, fulfillment. You start something, it doesn't fructify. That's a death. The start came to an abrupt end. And these are the daily wounds of life. Therefore, very wisely, Sri Krishna is saying here, whether or not you are free of delusion is decided only in the moment of death. Beautifully put. Whether or not you are free of delusion is decided really truthfully only in the moment of death. Other moments you can fool yourself and console yourself, as we always do anyway. I am all right. I'm all right. As long as the job is going smooth and the love affair is all right and the money is flowing in and people are respecting you as usual. Anybody can say, I'm centered, I'm free, I'm liberated, I have no cares in life. The truth will be exposed in the moment of death. In the moment of death. And when that moment comes, we lie shattered. Have you seen people breaking down? The fellow looked like a rock. And one blow of time, look, he has just crumbled, crushed, been powdered. It is then that it is revealed, exposed, how free of moha, delusion you are. Equally, it is said that the one who is free of moha is also free of mrityu. Because the first delusion is I exist. If you are free of the lie that your existence is, who is there to die? Who's there to die? And that's the reason the knowers have sung so greatly of death. They said, we are already dead. And therefore death cannot scare us anymore. Die. Die. मरना था सो मर गया, अब को मरने जाए. There was somebody within who needed to die, who needed to be put to death, and he has been terminated, executed, silenced. Now there is nobody left to die, therefore I am immortal, I am free of death. You understand this? The greatness about self-realization is not that you will get some great heaven after your death. The great thing about self-realization is that you will stop thinking of death altogether. Even if you are continuously thinking, I have been a great devotee or a very pious person or a very knowledgeable person, so after my death I'll be rewarded with this, that, or a fantastic rebirth. It still means that death means a lot to you. It still means that you think of yourself as alive, which basically means you are still very deluded. The real deal is when death becomes such a petty thing, it bores you. You don't want to talk of death. But there's nothing special in death. In some sense, I'm already dead. So why are you talking about that one moment of physical termination. The body is anyway decaying all the time. What great thing will happen in that particular moment, or what will happen then, which is anyway not happening right now? So don't bring these things to me, they don't interest me. That's the fruit of knowledge. You're no more interested in death, and then you are really alive. To be scared of death is to be just so interested in death. Do you see this? The fellow who is scared of death is thinking of death all the time. And when you're thinking of something all the time, aren't you interested in it? The Jnani is bored of death. He said, what death? Because he is bored of death, so he is available to life. You cannot scare somebody of something he does not value at all, right? So the knower cannot be terrified or arm twisted. The final death, what does it mean to the ego? You see, your body was your first possession and your body will be taken away. Similarly, all deaths express themselves in the same syntax. Your body was dear to you, your body will be taken away. Your money is dear to you, your money will be taken away. That's death. Your prestige is dear to you, it will be taken away. That's death. Something is dear to you and it will be taken away. And why is anything dear to you? That same fundamental delusion. I am incomplete and that thing makes me complete. If that thing goes away, what will happen of me? What will remain of me? Getting it? This is all right, right? That's death. Don't think of death as some far-off event. It is happening continuously. In fact, the more attentive you are, the more you will see the continuity of death. If a fellow says death comes only once in life, it just tells of his unfamiliarity with life. If you think you die only once, then you don't know what life is. The more you really touch life, the closer you come, the more you see death is happening maybe 3 times a day. And then you see 30 times a day. And then you see 300 times a day. And then you see it continuously. There is nothing but death. Nothing but death. Everything that begins comes to an end. And nothing comes to an end because from every end there is another beginning. Just as you call the process of existing as life, you'd be equally correct if you call the process of existing as death. Death is then not an event but a process. Similarly, you would have guessed it by now. Birth too is not an event but a process. And you will continue to remain scared of death, if you do not grow weary of, bored of birth, you are scared of death because you welcome birth. You create beginnings and keep hoping that the beginnings will remain begun. Each beginning will come to an end. Don't associate yourself with them. There is no need to. But if you remain fundamentally deluded, you will be forced to associate yourself with several beginnings. Are you getting it? I'm not all right. Let's begin a new trip. You see, I'm not all right. Let me begin a new relationship. Beginnings you hold as good, auspicious, welcome, and death you avoid as plague. How will these two go together? If you are invested in beginnings, you will have to be devastated in deaths. Are you getting it? Both the process of beginning and the process of losing come from delusion. You begin because you think you're not all right. And the end comes, death comes, because the places you go to feel all right will always disappoint you. And that is death. Getting it? So we said delusion is born. We said belief is born. Now let's say one thing one last time. Death is born. What takes birth? Death. It is death that takes birth. If you can deal with your daily disappointments with freedom, liberation, then that final thing called death will no longer be a scare. You can even quote this as the very definition of freedom. A free person is one who neither clings to life nor runs from death. But as you write this, again, the inner thing would have played a trick. It would have told you that death means that final one-time thing. We are talking of the micro deaths, the daily process. The more you are hopeful about beginnings with respect to objects, the more you would be hurt by endings. And the more you are hurt, the more you will want to rush into a new beginning. Professionals, veterans in the relationship market, they say that if you want to really get hitched up, look for someone who just had a breakup. After a breakup, the tendency, no, the urgency to just cling to somebody, anybody, is at the peak. Every ending leads to, and the beginnings are just as dark, as sordid as the ending. And what will become of such a beginning? It will lead to the same kind of ending, or rather worse. Getting it? You are all right just watching the river. Don't worry. Something comes, something goes. You're all right. The river has its own flow. You have your own flow. Nothing there is obliged to satisfy you. The good news is you don't need satisfaction. Bad news first. That's the etiquette. Bad news first. Bad news, nothing in the world can ever satisfy you. The good news now, you do not need satisfaction. Let that be, let this be. That is all right at its own place, and this one is all right at its own place. The entire problem is the distorted relationship. In fact, that is the only problem. That is all right, this is all right. What do the Upanishads say? Now you smile, you see. Purnamada and Purnamidam. And so deep, so inalienable is the completeness that Purnat Purnam Udachyate. It's all okay. That is okay, this is okay. But when this clings to that in the hope of becoming okay, then there is a problem. Getting it? This is okay, that is okay. The relationship is not okay. Clinging is not okay. Avoid clinging, everything is okay. Let there be birth, let there be death, let the river keep flowing. It's fine. It came, it went. Just as this comes, this goes. The nature of the river is just the same as your own nature. You are in fact a part of the river. Getting it? There is nothing to get. You understand the way of all seeing. All your problems are problems of doership. The solution is not to do more, but to realize what you have been doing foolishly. But meet people and they'll say, our problem is because I have not done this, and the solution is that now I am going to do an excess of that. Both the diagnosis and the remedy are totally flawed. Double delusion once again. That's duality. delusion as a bicycle, always on two wheels. Getting it? If you find yourself in a soup, don't just hop on to the next great idea you have. Stop, ask what brought me here in the first place. And that which brought me here will only take me to a place even worse. If I do not identify what brought me here. But when you are in a bad state, you find it even more difficult to pause and reflect, don't you? Then the tendency to just hop and do something, do anything, is even more pronounced. That's exactly when you must check yourself. No. Before we do anything else, we need to understand how we got here. How we got here. How will you solve climate change? By doing more? Or by realizing what brought you here to 440 ppm in the first place? The solution is simple. Don't do that. But to say, don't do that, you'll also have to cease being the same old doer. And that's why climate change is a problem that's not going to be solved. Because it is probably the first problem in our history that demands a total internal change. Whenever we had other problems, they could be solved using external means. But now the external means have all been exhausted because the planet is finite in size. Now only the internal route remains. But we are not used to taking the internal route. We are not used to looking at the mirror. So we are still trying the old tricks from the old playbook. We faced so many problems in the past, but man's spirit is extremely resilient. Didn't we tide over the troubles? We'll do the same this time. Climate change will be taken care of, no issues. No, sir, you cannot take care of climate change. The only way to take care of climate change is to not let man remain who he has become. As long as you remain this that you have become, your deeds will remain the same. If the doer remains the same, can the deed change? And it is your deed that has brought it to 440 ppm. But you want to do more to take care of the problem. No. You'll have to reduce, withdraw, retreat. In spiritual parlance, that's called surrender, dissolution, disappearance. If you want to prevent extinction outside, you need to go extinct inside. Getting it?